Fellow teammates, welcome to another episode of the Move Swiftly podcast. I am your host, Aswan Crookshank, the founder of Gym 44 Recruiting and author of Swiftly, Your Guide to Innovative Teamwork. Teammates, former Secretary of State, Ms. Condoleezza Rice, wrote a book a few years ago titled Extraordinary Ordinary People. She was referring to her parents, and she was talking about how they were ordinary people but did an extraordinary job raising her. I, too, was raised by two extraordinary, ordinary people. However, today's talk is not about them. Today's talk is about another ordinary, extraordinary man that touched my life growing up. His name is Steve Gant. Steve Gant was my linebackers coach at Good Counsel High School. Wait a minute, whoa. Got to rephrase that one. Steve Gant was my linebackers coach at the WCAC champs, Good Counsel High School. Hey! Now, Coach Gant was also a gym teacher. And one of the main reasons I decided to name my company Gym 44 is because I wanted to pay homage to a lot of those gym teachers out there who do incredible work for young people but never get the credit. Awesome mentoring. Now, I've coached high school football for 2 seasons, and between those 2 seasons and all my years as a player, if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the players do not care how much a coach knows until they know how much a coach cares. All right? I want to repeat that one so it really sinks in. Players do not care how much a coach knows until they know how much a coach cares. And one of the ways in which Coach Gant showed us that he cared is that every single time a linebacker would score a touchdown on defense, Coach Gant would take all the linebackers out for pizza. On the gym teacher salary, right, on his dime. Now I was lucky because I got the pizza party for 2 straight seasons, my junior year and my senior year. And there have been times in which the whole season would go by and a linebacker never scores a touchdown on defense. These are the kinds of things that happen when you play next to 2 All-Americans. All right, guys. My junior year, I played next to Akeem Hebron, and he was a first-team All-American and went on to play at the University of Georgia. My senior year, I was next to Jelani Jenkins, and he, first-team All-American, went on to play at the University of Florida and spent some time in the NFL as well. Now, the pizza party during my junior year, it happened to fall on a Friday night. And this particular Friday night was the night we were going to play the math. We're going to play the Matha that Saturday. All right, and for those of you who are not familiar with the Matha, I'm talking about Chase Young, talking about Cameron Wake, Victor Oladipo. Countless NFL and NBA players that have come out of that one high school. And this particular week, this was going to be my first ever start. I found out earlier that week that I'll be starting for the first time against the Matha. All right, so my nerves were pumping all week. Heart was just beating. It was like the first time I was ever public speaking. All right, so we get to the pizza party, and Coach Gant is the nicest guy. He gives me this warm look. He tells me how much he appreciates me. He says, man, I just want you making me look good. And teammates, it really was not a popular decision for this to be my first start, for the Matha to be my first start. And Coach Gant fought for me. And man, I hope he gets a chance to listen to this. I love him for that. I really appreciate him for that. Now the next day, game day, Saturday, the game was scheduled to start at 1 p.m. And we had our walkthrough at 9 a.m. We walk through, we go over everything, make sure as players, we're sharp on what the game plan is. And I remember all week, Coach Gent was telling me, look, as one, you have the running back out the backfield on all the pass plays. The running back's name was Pat Mealy, and it was my job to cover him on all the pass plays, no matter what. So that's your man. Stick to him. That's why he got this starting. That's why he's starting this week. Now we get to the walkthrough, and the offense is going over plays, and the running back comes out the backfield on a pass play, and I don't guard him. After this particular play, Coach Gent walks up to me. He goes, "Hey, didn't I tell you have the running back out the backfield?" Then I look up at Coach Gent and I said, "Oh man, I thought." And then Coach Gent goes, He thought, jackass, he thought. He tells me he thought." Fellow teammates, I got my ass ripped, all right? And that is what made him such an extraordinary educator, an extraordinary coach, an extraordinary molder of men. It was his ability to be a buddy one night and then the next night to discipline you and get up in your ass a little bit. Because he knew what every kid needed in that particular moment. That Friday night, I didn't need someone yelling at me. I just needed someone to tell me he believed in me. That Saturday morning, when I make an inexcusable mistake, I needed to get my ass chewed out. And that's my goal for you guys during this talk. I want you guys to figure out how you can go from ordinary to extraordinary in your professional development. It is crucial in today's world because we never know what's going to happen after this pandemic. We don't know how long teams are going to stay together. And if you're not doing something to go from ordinary to extraordinary, you are behind the eight ball. All right, I'll give you guys an example. I've been a trainer at a gym named 9 Round Kickboxing and Fitness for close to 3 years now. And I never did, and still do not have any interest in being a trainer. The only reason I decided to pursue this opportunity was because I see the connection between Gym 44, the company I started, and 9 Round Kickboxing and Fitness. I see that we have similar visions, a similar mission, and we can help each other's businesses grow. I used to work at a Lady Foot Locker, and during my time, and it was a quick stint, during my time at a Lady Foot Locker, I found out that the people who started Foot Locker and the people who started Nike are really close. They're really tight. They're like best buds. And I learned how important having an established partner really is if you want to grow your business, if you really want to be successful. So 9 Round became a bigger opportunity for me. Now, when I first started training at 9 Round, I could do two things. I knew how to call out 30 seconds! And then I knew how to yell out a bunch of motivational stuff to people. Which, don't get me wrong, it's an awesome thing, but I knew in the back of my mind it wasn't going to last. And just so we're clear, 9 Round is a fitness class with a boxing theme. Therefore, the people who are paying their money for a membership, they want to learn how to do their own combos. They want to learn how to throw a jab, cross, uppercut, hook, cross, jab, jab, cross. They want to develop their own ones and twos. I mean, there are women who have been in some abusive relationships, and their ability, just the knowledge, just the figuring out how do I defend myself can change their psyche when they're alone with this man. And I knew I wasn't really sharp at that. I knew I wasn't good enough. I could be better. We'll say it like that. Eventually, we hired another trainer. His name is Pablo. And Pablo has a background in fighting. He was an amateur fighter. He actually fought in matches and all those kinds of things. And when Pablo started working at 9 Round, we didn't have to teach him how to hold pads for the members. We didn't have to teach him how to teach members their own combos. He came in and added that as a skill to the business. And people loved him. People still love him. All right? I can remember when he first started work and the whole place would just get quiet as he goes, jump, get us, jump, get us, I'm gonna get across, hooks anybody. I mean, the place lit up. All right, I enjoyed it. But in the back of my mind, I said, look, I have to develop as a pad drill holder if he is. Because I don't want the members to walk in and not see him and just see me and say to themselves, oh, great, I'm only going to get yelled at today. I'm not going to be able to develop. I'm not going to be able to do my own ones and twos. I'm not going to learn any new combos. I never wanted that. Therefore, even though technically me and Pablo are competition, I had to go to Pablo and I said, hey, bro, I need you to teach me how to hold mitts better. I need you to teach me so I could teach the members how to develop their own combos. And eventually I got pretty good at it. I'm not as good as he is, but I didn't need to be as good as he is. I just need to make sure I do some to add to my skill set, to go from just this ordinary trainer that's yelling at people to becoming extraordinary to now I can put my money where my mouth is. I can represent the brand the right way. And now that I've learned it, I can go back and be a high school football coach and teach the linebackers how to develop their own combos. And I've added value to that staff. Imagine a coach being able to hire a linebacker coach that can teach his linebackers how to do boxing drills during the off season. Having that background, learning those little things. Not only that, I also deal with a lot of different nonprofits. One in particular deals with young ladies who've been abused or are dealing with domestic violence situations, or they've had men who have forced themselves on them. And now that I can teach some of those basic self-defense mechanisms, there you go. There's another way of adding value. Teammates, that's what I've done to go from ordinary to extraordinary. All right, the person who hired me at 9 Round, his name is Ira, has done so much for me, and I appreciate him more than he'll ever know. I know I don't act like it all the time, but I really do. And I know he's going to be listening to this, but I really do appreciate you. But I never wanted to be a liability to him. Always wanted to become an asset. All right? One of my favorite books, you guys have heard this, it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. One of the biggest takeaways I got from that book is that the rich figure out a way to put their money in assets, and the poor put their money in liabilities. So with that, teammates, I want you guys to ask yourself this question. Am I an asset or am I a liability? And be honest with yourself. What are you in your workplace? An asset or a liability? Teammates, write this one down. And I'll give you a little something to write down every week. Pull your pens out. Make sure you write it down. I'll close with this. Deepak Chopra, a couple years ago, the self-help guru, said this a few years ago. He said, people do not grow old. When people stop growing, they become old. Fellow teammates, continue to move swiftly. We'll talk more soon.
Resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby congratulates legendary Coach Bob Malloy for setting marks that will stand as goals to match for the future coaches of high school football in our county, and for doing it all in a first-class championship way. It's signed today by our Council President, Roger Berliner.
Wow. First of all, legendary just means old. That's all it means. I'd like to get my daughter, Kelly. Get up here.
We'll get somebody to take pictures, please.
Well, first of all, I write big, so there's really not that many notes here. But I want to thank the Montgomery County Council and council members, Katz and Navarro, for having me here. Also want to thank Neil Greenberger, who was probably behind the whole thing. But anyway, I was born and raised in Montgomery County. I've been here 73 years. I coached 47 years at 4 different high schools, as you've already heard. And I want to say, in 47 years, I never made a tackle, I never caught a pass, and I never scored a touchdown. In order to do what we've accomplished over those years, it takes a lot of great help. And I have to remember some of those people and recognize some of those folks right now. Number one, thousands of great players. I mean, we had some good players. Great players make great coaches, let me tell you that. But and two of them are actually here today, Lauren Danielson and Phil Kaplan, back in 74 and 72. But thousands of great players, 9 of which got to the NFL. We have 5 in the NFL right now. Second, dozens of great coaches, loyal, hardworking, dedicated men. And I have to mention some. And of course, when you mention things, a lot of times, you leave somebody out, and I certainly hope I don't do that, but I've got to mention Don Rushing. We've been together since 1970. John Haberman, Tommy Kroll, Billy Goodman, Kirk Davis, Tom McMahon, Bob Salento, Jimmy Castonway, Kevin McFadden, and Steve Gent.